Hey there team, welcome back to the channel and welcome to my overview of the Planet Crafter. So for those not across it, I do overviews on this channel. They're fairly entry level, broad stroke stuff. I keep it short and punchy, under 10 minutes, and just give you an idea that this game exists and what's going on here. Anything more exhaustive than that and you probably want a review. So we checked this out when it was first in early access way back in the day, and it was a bit of a skeleton of a build. Like, it was functional and working and dare I say good quality, but content thin might be the best way to put it. And so now we have the 1.0 build and I've been dabbling away with it in the starting hours, and interestingly, it still has the same mouthfeel. So like the build wise, its functionality doesn't seem to have changed a whole lot, and this might put a few people off because it still does have a very indie jank sort of UI to it. It's very functional, right? In a way, kind of clean, but not frilly. Again, like I said, you might have a bit of a reaction to it, but then you come to realize that this game is actually very, very streamlined. In fact, calling it clean and kind of no frills across the board is probably a pretty apt explanation. I suppose most importantly, it's very fun. And it's very addicting. I'm looking forward to playing some more. It has really taken that loop and boiled it down to essentially the raw dopamine hit and rinse and repeat. So effectively, you're trying to terraform this planet. Again, I'm early days, so it's not super blue skies or anything like that just yet, but having a look at some of the material on launch, it looks pretty cool what you can do in the long term. But at its core, you're essentially tethered to your starting point in a way by your survival mechanics. You have oxygen, health, which is just food, and water. And the food and water is not so bad, but the oxygen runs out very fast. The real magic to what makes this game work is it does keep sending you out on fetch quests. But as you can probably see in the footage, all the little bits and pieces of iron and silicon and what have you, they're all very recognizable. Like cobalt's the tall blue column, and you know that. And they're constantly sort of being refurbed, and there's just so much of it. Dust storms come through and blow more stuff and that sort of thing. And the pace at which you go inside your base, you decide what you're going to build, you make a little mental bloody wish list, and then you run out, pick up stuff, and come back. And we're talking minutes. So that's where it nails it, where I think a lot of other games don't. I don't particularly love a lot of the mainstream survival craft type games. Usually it takes something different to get me interested, something like The Long Dark, where it's more hardcore survival. But these games that substitute gameplay for grind flood this genre. And look, each to their own, fill your boots. If you want to just grind away mindlessly, that's fine. And I suppose through a certain lens, you could argue that's what this is as well. But I'm getting at is that grind feedback loop. Go get something, bring it back, build it, new upgrade. It's really short and tight, like shorter than anything I've ever seen. And so you've got upgrades coming hard and fast, pretty much non-stop. You've always got something to do. And you'll go out on your little recce, pick up your stuff, come back, build that extension to your base. And before you can even really think, what do I do next? You're going to get a pop-up saying, hey, you unlock this new thing. It's not overwhelming. I'm honestly going to say it's perfectly paced. I mean, I guess it's probably also worth covering biases. Like, I really like anything that's got terraforming in it. I find that subgenre fascinating. And this is not something you usually see, honestly, in the first-person survival craft. So it's taken pretty much an established subgenre, which is more in colony building, RTS-type top-down sort of games. Think Surviving Mars, for example. And it's basically just transposed that down into first-person survival craft. It works really well. What I really love, as far as like a UI sort of wrinkle that they've done, is that you can build these monitors, and they're not really interactable. They're just big bloody LCD display devices for basic info. Where you are in the terraforming, what your power levels are, a sort of archive of blueprints. Some of them you click on and you can scroll through and look, but the ones that really shine are the ones that are essentially just big wall screens telling you where you're at a glance. It's all clean. Like, they've really taken the time to figure out what makes this game tick and grind it right down into the pure gameplay. The way progress seems to work is you can, craft small items like oxygen and food and upgrades for your backpack and exosuits and all this sort of stuff to expand your capacity. So you've got that trickle going on. But then you've got the actual base building, which is all pretty good and modular and things snap together. It seems that like the gantry block doesn't seem to be the same size as the basic hab, which is sort of triggering me a little bit as someone who likes to build very rigidly in squares, but I'll work through that. But all the interface is actually really clean, works really well. If you're getting the vibe from me that I'm praising how just functional and solid the mechanics are, then you'd be right, because that's the star of the show. But as far as upgrades go, you've got, what is it? It's like heat, oxygen, power as well, and everything draws power, so you have to put power up as well. There's a pressure thing as well. I've got like this pressure drill causing trouble. And you have a really neat readout that basically each of these metrics, like, you know, picopascals, right? It measures your temperature and all that as well. Each of those sort of prerequisites for terraforming is tracked, and the upgrade research tree is milestone based. I mean, you can get some blueprint chip things to unlock and all that, but broadly speaking, at its core, you have different trees for different parts of the terraforming, which is a great little mini loop that will keep you trying to sort of balance that stuff passively in a way. Like, you're not going to realize that's what you're doing. You're going to look at it and you can look at the tree and go, oh, I'm lagging behind on the oxygen front. I'm going to start building more of these little chambers and putting plants in them. So it helps direct you in such a way that you feel like you have agency, but what you're kind of trying to do is keep afloat in a way, right? You're sort of trying to level out all the different levels. Anyway, I'm seeing it praises because it's a lot of fun. I look forward to getting back into it and having a bit more of a go. But again, just a brief sort of punchy overview to give you the broad strokes. Anyway, let me know what you reckon. Might just leave it there for the time being. I'll catch you guys on the next one.